Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Napoleon Dynamite, issue number 1. I don't know if the whole thing is called Impeach Pedro or not, but it should be, because it seems to be the center of everything here. Regardless, I'm going to tell you 5 things about this comic book after I tell you about who made this book. So, story by Carlos Guzman-Verdugo and Alejandro Verdugo. Art by and colors by George Monlongo, and design and letters by Krista Meissner. This is an IDW publication. So, number 1 on this list. It's only about a few weeks later from the original movie, the MTV movie thing. So, certain clues are given in there. It doesn't actually say exactly when, but there is a time limit for when the recount for the student elections can happen, and this easily fit within there, so cool. There's a specific timeline, and it just feels like it's only a few weeks later. Moving on to number 2. Pedro election fraud. Yep, this really is about Impeach Pedro, because there are people coming up and claiming that Summer actually won the elections, not Pedro. And there are a couple different little tactics being used to try and find out, did, yes, no, whatever. But all of these things are kind of weird. they feel like they're all things that could have been looked at beforehand, but I really don't care because it's a freaking Napoleon Dynamite comic book. It doesn't have to make a lot of sense. It just has to be funny, and it is. Number 3 on this list. There's a murder. Oh yeah, that's right. No, nobody that we know. Just somebody who apparently gets, he gets killed, he dies, he got himself dead. And what happens, there's some podcasters that show up and they're just like, oh, hey man, we think that he was actually murdered. So they're staying at Napoleon's house, and this is going to make for some interesting scenarios, I'm sure, especially since Napoleon doesn't know what a podcast actually is. Anyway, number 4 on this list. There's a new dojo. Yeah, Rex Kwon Do is still there, but right across the street there's this brand new one of this guy who actually seems to have been in the military, and he's teaching Napoleon a whole bunch of cool things, including adding to his tracking skills, which is interesting. He can now find inanimate objects. I'm dying. Number 5 on this list. It felt authentic. Realistically, I know that's everybody. I know that's what everybody's really been waiting for. Did this feel authentic or not? Yes, it did. If you liked or hated the original movie, I know there's a very split decision. Very few people are impartial to that movie. But if you liked or hated that movie, understand this feels exactly like the movie. Couple of new characters introduced, but I swear I read every single one of these guys in their original voices. The new people, it wasn't hard to imagine a voice for these people because it's all within the same theme of the show. Really looking forward to his brother and his wife showing up because they didn't show up in this comic book. What a shame. But there's still 3 or so more issues to go, right? So there's always hope. Anyway, it felt authentic. This was a pretty fun comic book. I'm probably going to get the next issue. It is very wordy, though. I should give you a little bit of a forewarning on that. I just opened to the first page, and there was just so many words thrown at me. I'm just like, wow. I don't know if I've got the energy for that, but it might just because I'm really, really sick, but we'll see. Anyway, guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, class dismissed.